Are you worried about losing your job? It's a question that can send shivers down your spine. But let's face it, in today's ever-changing job market, layoffs are a reality that many of us might have to face at some point in our careers. The signs can be subtle and often overlooked, but catching them early can give you a head start in preparing for what might be coming. You see, recognizing the signs of an impending layoff isn't just about bracing yourself for the worst. It's about giving yourself the opportunity to prepare, emotionally, financially, and professionally. It's about understanding that you're not alone, that many have walked this path before you, and most importantly, that there is life after a layoff. It's about arming yourself with knowledge so you can navigate the situation with grace and dignity. Let's start with the emotional aspect. Nobody likes feeling blindsided. When you see the signs and acknowledge the possibility of a layoff, it can help reduce the shock and emotional turmoil that often accompanies such news. It gives you time to process, to come to terms with the situation, and to start thinking about your next steps. Financially, recognizing the signs early can help you start saving, budgeting, and making contingency plans. It can give you the breathing space to consider your options, maybe even explore new career paths, or start that business you've always dreamed of. Professionally, it's an opportunity to take stock of your skills, your passions, and your career goals. It's a chance to network, to update your resume, and to put yourself out there. Remember, every ending is a new beginning, and a layoff could be the catalyst for a new, exciting chapter in your professional life. So, we're here today not to spread fear, but to empower, to help you read the signs, see the red flags, and take control of your own narrative. Because when life throws you curveballs, it's not about the fall, it's about how you pick yourself up and move forward. So, without further ado, let's dive into the top 5 signs that you might be on the chopping block. Sign 5. You're being left out of the loop. This might seem like a minor change at first, but it's actually a significant red flag. If you notice that you're no longer privy to important meetings, discussions, or even casual conversations, it could be an indication that your role in the company is being phased out. Let's consider a scenario where you've always been part of team meetings where key decisions are made. Suddenly, you find out about these meetings after they've happened, or worse, you're not informed at all. This isn't just about being kept in the dark. It's about your input no longer being sought or valued. Or perhaps you've noticed that emails and memos that used to come your way have dwindled. You're not getting the same volume of correspondence, or the content is less relevant to your role. This can be a subtle way of isolating you without making it apparent. Anecdotes abound of employees who experienced this decrease in communication before they were laid off. There's the tale of a sales executive who noticed her email inbox was unusually quiet. She wasn't getting updates from her team or invites to strategy sessions. A few weeks later, she was let go. And then there's the story of a project manager who was suddenly excluded from planning meetings. He found out about project changes from his subordinates instead of being part of the decision-making process. Not long after, he received his pink slip. These stories illustrate a common pattern. When communication decreases, it's often a sign that your position is becoming less integral to the company's operations or future plans. It's a way for the organization to distance itself before making the final decision. Remember, communication is key in any organization. If you're being left out of the loop, it's time to take note and prepare for what might be coming. Don't ignore this sign. Instead, use it as an opportunity to proactively manage your career. Whether that means opening a dialogue with your superiors, updating your resume, or starting your job search, the important thing is to take action. Before we move on to sign 4, take a moment. Pause this video, hit that subscribe button, give us a follow, and don't forget to like. Your support is what keeps us going. Have something to say or share? Drop a comment below. Your voice matters to us, and if you find this video helpful, why not share it with your friends and family? It's a great way to support us and keep the content flowing. Now let's get back to the countdown. Scene script. Sign 4. Your duties are changing or decreasing. Now, let's talk about shifts in responsibilities. If you find that your duties are changing, or worse, decreasing, you might want to take note. It's not uncommon for a company to restructure roles as it evolves, but if you notice a significant reduction in your tasks, or if you're being sidelined, it could be a sign that the company is preparing for your exit. Remember, your role in your organization is vital. You are hired to perform certain tasks, and if those tasks are being handed off to someone else or simply disappearing, it might mean that the company is trying to manage without your input. But don't panic just yet. If you notice these changes, it's time to take action. Start by having a conversation with your manager. Ask for clarity about your role and express any concerns you have. It's always better to know where you stand instead of guessing. Next, evaluate your value. What unique skills and experiences do you bring to your role? Make sure your superiors know your worth. It could be that they're unaware of the full range of your capabilities. Finally, always be prepared. Keep your resume updated, network with industry professionals, and never stop learning. You never know when you might need to make a quick career move. Never underestimate the power of your role in your organization. Scene script. Sign 3. You're receiving more negative feedback than usual. Now, we all know that criticism is part and parcel of any working environment. It helps us grow, learn, and improve. But what if you find yourself on the receiving end of an unusual amount of negative feedback? And worse, what if it comes without any constructive advice or a plan for improvement? This might be a warning sign that your position in the company is at risk. When we talk about negative feedback, we're not just discussing those formal performance reviews. Keep an eye on those off-the-cuff comments, the quick emails, or the passing remarks. If you notice a shift in tone, an increase in criticism, or a decrease in praise, it's time to take note. Remember, feedback should always be a two-way street. It should be constructive, with clear advice on how to improve. If it's consistently negative without any guidance, it could be a sign that your employer is building a case against you. It can be a tough pill to swallow, but it's essential to stay vigilant and proactive. So, take a step back and evaluate. Has there been a noticeable increase in negative feedback? Has the feedback been less constructive and more punitive? If so, it's time to brace yourself and prepare for potential changes. Always strive for improvement, but be aware of the context. Sign 2. Your company is struggling financially. It's an unfortunate fact that businesses don't operate in a vacuum. They're subject to market forces, competition, and economic trends. And sometimes, despite everyone's best efforts, a company can find itself in financial hot water. Spotting these signs isn't always easy, especially if you're not directly involved in financial decision-making. But there are clues that can hint at distress. You might notice frequent cost-cutting measures being implemented. These could range from downsizing office space, reducing employee benefits, or even cutting back on stationery supplies. While cost-cutting isn't always a sign of impending doom, consistent and drastic measures could be cause for concern. Another sign could be a freeze on hiring. If your company suddenly stops bringing new people on board, it could be a sign that they're trying to save money where they can. Similarly, if there's a sudden push for increased productivity without additional resources, it might indicate that the company is trying to do more with less. And don't forget about the power of information. If your company is publicly traded, keeping an eye on stock prices and financial news can provide insight into the company's health. Private companies might be trickier, but pay attention to industry news and any public announcements your company makes. Remember, knowledge is power. Stay informed about your company's financial health. Sign 1. Something just doesn't feel right. You know, our gut feelings are often more insightful than we give them credit for. They're the culmination of our experiences, our observations, and our instincts, all working together to give us a sense of what's happening around us. Now, when it comes to the workplace, a gut feeling that something is off can be a powerful signal. Perhaps it's a change in the atmosphere, a lingering sense of unease, or a feeling that you're being excluded. You might not be able to put your finger on it, but it's there, nagging at you. This isn't about paranoia or baseless worry. It's about trusting your intuition, that internal compass that has guided you through life's ups and downs. Listen to it. Explore what's causing this feeling. It might be nothing, but it could also be a sign that you're on the brink of a layoff. Trust your instincts. They're usually right. Let's quickly recap the top 5 signs that you might be facing a layoff. Starting with number 5, we discussed decreased communication. When you're out of the loop on important updates, it might be a red flag. Next, at number 4, a shift in responsibilities can also be a telling sign. If you're suddenly relieved of key duties, it's time to take note. Sign number 3, negative feedback, is another key indicator. If constructive criticism turns into constant critique, you might want to keep an eye out. Then we have number 2, company struggles. If your organization is facing financial difficulties or downsizing, it might impact your position. Lastly, but by no means least, trust your gut feeling. If something doesn't feel right, it probably isn't. Remember, recognizing these signs isn't about creating fear, but about empowering you to take control of your career. And if you do find yourself facing a layoff, remember, a layoff is not the end. It's the beginning of a new chapter. Stay strong and keep moving forward.